Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Carson City today inside the state capitol. We are joined by Nicole Cannizzaro. She is a new member of the Nevada State Senate. Tremendous victory indeed, and exciting times given the number of women that are serving in both the Nevada legislature and the state Senate.
That's correct.
Tell us.
So I want to thank you first for having me.
Please.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this legislative session. We have 40% women between the Assembly and the Senate.
And I have to say, that is historic.
Yes.
I mean, we may be 50% of the population,
Yes.
men versus women, but not many states. I mean, even California, I think they're in the mid-20s.
Yes.
So
it is
40%?
It is. It's a high number. I believe there's one other state, Vermont, that has 40%.
Right.
Female state legislators, and we're very excited to be talking about some more women issues, to get that perspective and to have that participation.
And let's talk about the Senate specifically. Only 21 members total.
That's right.
8 are women.
That's right.
But if we look at the Democratic caucus, how many?
We have 5 Democrats who are women, and then we also have Senator Patricia Farley. She is an independent, but she is caucusing with us, and she's also lending that awesome female voice to our discussion.
So your caucus has 12. That means 6 of you are women. You're at 50%.
Yes.
I mean, that is what the population, essentially. I mean, there are actually a little more women than men in the world, but be that as it may. Dig deep and tell me why that really matters, though.
It matters because when we're talking about how policy impacts families, women just have a different perspective. They come at things being mothers, having to balance, being pregnant and being in the workforce, or how to, make sure that they're taking care of their family. We have a different, I think, sense of compassion that sometimes is missing from those discussions.
You know what I find also interesting about women who serve in elective office? There seems to be more bipartisanship amongst Democratic female electeds and Republican female electeds. Even if there are significant differences on issues, there's a club there. Is that fair? I mean, with the other, I guess there are 2 women in the Senate that are not Democrats or independents.
Yes.
I presume you're all friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's been really
Harris,
wonderful to have them
Right.
as well. We're actually starting a women's caucus. Patricia Farley is sort of spearheading that, and then we have bipartisan members from both the Assembly and the Senate. So we're sort of tripartisan and bicameral, and we're going to be talking about a lot of issues and how they impact women. And I think women, as you alluded to, are able to find that common ground and figure out ways to make things work. And I think that's pretty common if you look at it from the perspective of having to make a household work.
Right. So another point for those that are advocating in favor of increased female participation in the electoral process is, are women getting positions of leadership? And so I ask you, in the Senate, are the 8 of you seeing yourselves in leadership positions?
We are. So I will say in leadership as a whole, we have 2 women, Senator Joyce Woodhouse and Senator Patricia Spearman. They are both serving as co-majority whips for our caucus.
That's for real.
And then I believe that all of us have some form of leadership position. We're all chairing committees this
session. Do you know
session.
On the Republican side if the 2 female senators are in leadership? I'm not sure.
I believe they are. I want to say that they're policy coordinators for the Republican caucus, which, that I think will bring a wonderful dynamic to our discussions as a body.
I want to speak with you as well about education. I know that you're new to the legislature, but I'm sure that you're aware, I've become aware, that over the last few years, the governor, the Democrats, the Republicans, very focused on K-12. And that's important, critically important. Some would argue maybe to the exclusion of higher ed, both community college and 4-year. But it does seem as if the governor, Dems, Reaps are looking at higher ed this session. Do you see it that way as well, that higher ed's getting its time in the sun?
Yes, and that's something that I know the legislative Democrats are certainly focusing on. It's something I'm very interested in. I grew up in Vegas, and I attended the University of Nevada, Reno on a Millennium Scholarship, and then also law school at UNLV. So I'm a product of the higher education system in the state of Nevada.
At both sides of the state.
That's right. And so for me, it bears special importance because I know how much it changed my path and
Right.
how much it opened up opportunities for me
Well, you're
to
a
have
lawyer,
access
you're a
to that.
prosecutor. I
Yes.
mean, you're keeping us safe.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
not only here, but when you're, you know, in the courtroom.
Yeah. So I think this session we're going to see some really good ideas about how we can keep tuition costs down, how we can work with community colleges to build some of that career and technical education.
Can I just ask you about community college and career tech? How do I say this? One could say a lot of things about the new administration in Washington, okay? But let's focus on one thing, and that is jobs. What the new administration has said is they want to bring jobs back to America, and they've been focused on skilled jobs. Who trains those that are going to take skilled jobs? Community colleges, career tech. And so is Nevada ready to start training? Because if the new administration is successful in bringing jobs back, whatever that may mean, we need trained labor. And so
That's
they
right.
get trained at community colleges and career tech programs. Is Nevada ready?
I think Nevada is going to be ready. I
Okay.
think there are some things that we have to work on to sort of streamline that process, but we have some great community colleges, not only in Southern Nevada, where I represent Senate District 6, but also in Northern Nevada and throughout the rules of the state as well. And I think if we can utilize those resources that we do have and put a higher emphasis on that and focus on that with our high school students and bridge those gaps,
Right.
we can really create a pipeline where students can get that kind of education.
I want to speak with you about criminal justice, not only as a senator, but as a prosecutor.
Yes.
What we know is the governor is focusing mightily on the question of parole. What we know is that Nevada has the fewest parolee releases in the country. Part of it's because there are no programs for those that are released or could be released.
Sure.
The incarceration rates are increasing. We don't have the prison space. Are we going to build more prisons? I could go on and on. I'll be quiet.
Sure,
Begin.
sure. So, you know, I think that what we will certainly be looking at is ways that we can create some programs that might address some of the issues that we see in our communities. For example, mental health is a
Right.
huge issue, and we lack a lot of placements for individuals who maybe come into the criminal justice system but are doing so because of a mental health issue. And so if we can find ways to make those programs work a little bit better, we might be able to reduce recidivism.
Right.
Certainly, I will be keeping an eye on any policies that we enact regarding parole to ensure that we really are keeping our community safe.
And the reason why I ask this is unless there is some criminal justice reform, Nevada's going to have to start building more prisons. Now, that may not be a bad thing necessarily.
Sure.
But in the end, at least the governor believes that we should look at alternative methods. And there does seem to be kind of a wave throughout the country. I mean, even the most conservative Republicans are lining up with the most liberal Democrats on sentencing questions, and especially on drug offenses. You know, you're a
Yes,
prosecutor, you know more than me.
yes.
I mean, I used to be a lawyer, but now, you know, you're still doing it. And so do you see that there is significant momentum towards the question of criminal justice reform in Nevada?
Absolutely. And I think that is going to be a topic we are absolutely going to address. And I don't think that it's a one size fits all, and I don't think that it's just one solution that we need to work on. It's a variety of things. It's ensuring that individuals who are dangerous, who are violent, that we are keeping our community safe from those individuals. On the other hand, when we have somebody who does have a drug addiction
Right.
issue, maybe we can find some ways to make that something that we can address rather than incarcerate them. So
Her name.
it's balanced, I think.
Her name is Nicole Cannizzaro. She is a member of the Nevada State Senate representing significant portions of Clark County. I'm Brad Pomerance in Carson City. It's Local Edition.